Hari Om, everyone. Can you all hear me well online? Okay. ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां रामो राजमणिः सदा विजयते रामं रमेशं भजे रामेणाभिहता निशाचरचमु रामाय तस्मै नमः नास्ति परायणं परतरं रामस्य दासोऽस्म्यहं रामे चित्तलयः सदा भवतु मे भो राम मामुद्धर ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः 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 ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः. Let us chant the eighth mantra. सप्त प्राणाः प्रभवन्ति तस्मात् सप्तार्चिषः समिधः सप्त होमाः सप्त इमे लोका येषु चरन्ति प्राणाः गुहाशया निहिताः सप्त सप्त. This second Mundaka, first Khanda, as we are seeing each mantra, each word, Shankar Bhashya, we should also appreciate how the flow of thought is. The mantra began with the metaphor of sparks emerging from a conflagration of fire. Fire represented Akshara, spark represented Jiva. The main message was essential nature of Akshara and essential nature of Jiva is one and the same. And Jiva has emerged from Akshara. Then second mantra talked about nature of Akshara, Divyo Hyamurta Purusha. After that came series of mantras which spoke about what all things have emerged from Akshara. And we have to appreciate why this process or why this description is coming. The question asked by Shaunaka Maharshi was, what is that knowing by which everything becomes known? Pay attention to that question. Kasminno bhago vijñate sarvam idam vijñatam bhavati iti. What is that knowing by which everything becomes known? Now Upanishad Rishi says, first pay attention to what is the nature of this world. When you say everything becomes known, what is this everything referring to? In the last mantra, he is going to say, this world is nothing but a result of karma, result of upasana. Whatever we are experiencing as world is phalam of karma and upasana. Look at his ability to precisely point out what is this word called as Jagat. What is Vishwam? He says this is a result of karma upasana. Now the question is, where has this world emerged from? This whole set of mantras are to remind us again and again that world is nothing but an emergence from Akshara. There are infinite things in this world to point out. Upanishad mantra is taking few exalted things, few sattvic things, few well-known things, and saying this has emerged from Akshara. World is an effect, Akshara is the cause. So whenever I see the effect, I should remember this point. Where has it come from? More I know the source, I will have bhavana of divinity in the effect. That's why the example is given. If somebody takes dip in Gangaji in Haridwar, he need not again go to Gaumukh and take a dip. Why Haridwar? Any tributary of Gangaji. Provided he knows that this is Gangaji. Because what is there at the source is the same thing which is there as an effect. So that is what is being pointed out here, that this whole world that we are seeing has emerged from Akshara. Now there is one more subtlety introduced here. What kind of an emergence is it? A real emergence or an appearance? It cannot be a real emergence, because whenever real emergence has to take place, the cause has to undergo modification. This point we have seen several times, but we have to hold on to this very firmly. The moment you say it's a real emergence, your cause cannot be changeless. Cause has to undergo change if any real effect has to come out. The traditional example is milk turning into yogurt. Milk turning into yogurt is a real transformation. Therefore, the cause cannot be changeless. Cause has to undergo change. And what is the nature of this cause that we are talking about, Akshara? It's a changeless cause, nirvikara, which doesn't undergo any modification. So any effect that is emerging from this changeless cause has to be only an appearance. Now these details are not repeated every time, but whenever we think about this topic of creation, emergence of creation from Akshara, all these points should come in mind. One point is to appreciate emergence is from Akshara alone. Second is to remember that it's not a real emergence. It is like illusory snake emerging from the rope. mirage water emerging from the sun ray. Emergence is there. We cannot deny it because we are seeing it. If we are seeing it, it should have a cause. But that cause is a changeless cause. Therefore, the emergence is an appearance. This is where we enter Advaita Vedanta. If you just stop at this point, that everything is an emergence from Akshara, we are left with everything and Akshara. And Advaita Vedanta wants to say there is only Akshara. Now, if we want to make the word Akshara sweeter, after having understood the fundamentals, we can replace that word Akshara with God. That makes things even sweeter. Instead of saying this whole world has emerged from Akshara, what can you say? This whole world has emerged from Bhagavan. Bhagavan alone is appearing as this entire universe. But is it Bhagavan and universe? You say, no, there is only Bhagavan who is Paramatma of the nature of Sat, Chit, Ananda. That makes things sweeter. Is our journey done here? If we understand this whole world is an appearance in Paramatma, what is the next step or the last step? To appreciate that this Paramatma is me. Sometimes this sentence looks very like a blasphemous sentence. So if you want to fine tune it, you can say, the illuminator of my ego is this Paramatma. That way, even by mistake, we don't include ego in this statement. The illuminator of my thoughts is substratum of creation. The one who is providing existence to this ego, illumining this ego, is this Akshara Swarupa Paramatma. Then you can say, this Paramatma is me, and this Jagat is an appearance in me alone. And illuminator is not different from me. He is not illuminating from somewhere. He is me, myself. Now, this part is clear. This thought of who am I, that thought alone is called as Brahmakara Vritti. This is the thought which will remove ignorance. This is the thought which will remove effects of ignorance also. Remember the example in Vedanta Sara? If you burn the threads, the cloth is also burnt. So Brahmakara Vritti first will negate everything and itself also. Now if this Brahmakara Vritti has to rise, what do we need? Will it rise through doing good actions? No. Will it rise by doing sadhana? No. It will rise through pramana vyapara. Because Brahmakara Vritti is knowledge. Knowledge cannot be product of any action. All actions will make sure I become fit recipient for this knowledge. In that way, you can say it is contributing, but not directly. What is Pramana Vyapara? Single-pointed study of Upanishads. Single-pointed study of Upanishad. This is where all our sadhana chatushtaya will connect. How do I make myself fit for Pramana Vyapara? Pramana Vyapara looks like a technical word. Whenever our mind gains knowledge of something. That is called as praman vyapara. If I'm using my eyes to know form, that is pramana vyapara of eyes. So if I'm using my mind to gain knowledge of this truth, that is called pramana vyapara, to know the truth. How will that happen? Through Shravanam. This point we should be very clear. So we start appreciating what is the importance of study of scriptures. What is the importance of Shravanam? Now, this is Pramana Vritti, Brahmakara Vritti being born. After that, you have to nourish it. Because Brahmakara Vritti is one small Vritti, and there are so many worldly Vrittis. Having nourished it, we have to strengthen it. That this world is an emergence from Akshara. Akshara is Paramatma. Paramatma is illuminator of my ego. And that is my essential nature. This understanding, to strengthen it, there is one very beautiful verse which says, Dadhyana vasanam kinchit kamadinam managapi. Dadhyat na avasaram kinchit. Dadhyana avasaram kinchit. Don't give opportunity for desires. Kamadinam manakapi. Even a little bit. How little should it be depends upon the intensity and the quest of the seeker. How badly do you want liberation? To that extent, don't give any opportunity. How badly do you want to abide in the self? This is based on that depends the intensity of kamadinam manakapi. Greater the intensity, more intense is the reduction in kamana. Not even a little bit. Exalted expression, Taponji Maharaj. Not even a little bit what it means, we can see in those Mahatmas. Kamadinam manakapi. Then second line is, Asupter amrute kalam nayet vedanta chintaya. Until one goes to sleep and until this body drops. If that person is seeker of truth, their primary responsibility is to do this vichara. Asuptehe, until you go to sleep, and until this body drops. Amrutehe kalam nayet vedanta chintaya. Lead the mind in nourishing, strengthening Brahmakara Vritti. We discuss this introduction because whatever mantras we are seeing now is an anchor for us to strengthen Brahmakara Vritti. Different aspects are given, and it is said, look at this aspect and shift attention to the truth. How did the 8th mantra tell this? He said, just perception what is happening is like a yajna happening here. And all these ingredients, all these things which are there in perception have emerged from that same Akshara. Meditate in this way. Perception we are very familiar with. What do we have to do now? Connect perception and the entities involved in perception to God. If I do only think about perception, that I don't need Vedanta. To say that perception is happening because of God. And through perception shifting attention to God, that is strengthening Brahmakara Vritti. Now you see the mantra, Sapta Pranaha Prabhavanti. All the sense organs, which are mainly in the head, they have emerged from that Akshara. Tasmat. Tasmat means Aksharat. Sapta Arshishaha. the 7 flames which are illuminating the sense objects, they have emerged from Akshara. Flame meaning the light in each sense organ to reveal, ability of the sense organ to reveal. Samidaha means the objects. Samidaha, literal meaning is fuel. So objects are actually fueling the sense organs. And Sapta Homaha, 7 types of homas are happening, but homa here refers to the knowledge. Aham janami. We had seen Dakshinamurti Stotram example that whenever I see something, having seen that object, if my mind takes form of that object, the next statement I say is, I know that object. Now, clearer the thought, clearer is my knowledge of that object. That's why in some music, if you hear a song and somebody asks you, which raga is it? You say, Aham janami. I know it is music. But which raga it is, na janami. Because either I don't know ragas, or my thought did not take form of that raga. So thought taking form is vritti vyapti. I saying that I know, aham janami, that is phala vyapti. So to the extent vritti can be precise, to that extent clearer is my worldly knowledge. Sapta homaha. Aham janami is also part of that cognition. And this also has emerged from that same Akshara. Consciousness alone reflects in thought, mind, sense organ, and illumines the world outside. Sapta ime lokaha. These 7 sense organs, they live in the apertures. Where does the aperture belong to? Subtle body or gross body? Gross body. So all fine-tuning medical checkups that we do belongs to this golakaha. Yeshu charanti pranaha. These pranas, they are moving in these golakas. Guha shaya nihita sapta sapta. And when this person goes to sleep, all the sense organs, they fold back into the mind, in the hita nadi. One commentator, he writes, what is the metaphor given here of Homa, right? Vishayas, they are there, and the flames of sense organs, that Vishaya is being offered there. So that Homa example is given. Saptarshishaha are the flames in the sense organ. So he says, this Guha Shaya Nihita Sapta Sapta, what it means is, these sense organs are like rishis. And after a tiring day of Homa, they go to sleep. So that next day when they wake up, they can start this Homa again. And he says, purer the mind, more Kavita is seen in Upanishad. Poetry is seen in Upanishad to that mind which is pure. So Upanishad Rishi, he says, just imagine how they have come up with this poetry of Homa and connected it back to cognition. We had seen the Bhashya, so we'll directly read it. Kincha sapta shirshanyaha pranaha tasmat eva purushat prabhavanti. All the pranas, the 7 prana, shirshanyaha means which are on the head. Tasmat, from that purusha alone, they have emerged. So prana here doesn't refer to prana apana vyana udana samana. Prana means sense organs, which are on the head. Tesham cha sapta arshishah deeptayah swavishaya avadyotanani. Of these sense organs, the ability to illumine is called as the flame. So 7 sense organs have 7 flames. Sapta Archishah, which are illumining respective sense object. Tatha Sapta Samidah, Sapta Vishayaha. In the same way, there are 7 oblations. Samida means oblations or the fuel, which is symbolic of objects. Vishayaha. Vishayaihi samidyante pranaha. It is by Vishayas alone pranas are recognized. What is the meaning of the word prana here? Sense organ. Only when form is there, I can establish the presence of eyes. That is why Vishayas are called as Samida. Sapta Homaha. Homaha here refers to knowledge of those respective Vishayas. Tad Vishaya Vijnanani. Aham Janami, when I say I know, that itself is Homa happening of Vishayas into the fire of sense organ. Archisha means fire, flames. Where did you come up with this metaphor? He says, there is one Upanishad mantra, Mahanarayana Upanishad, where it is said, Yadasya Vijnanam Tad Juhoti. Yad Asya. Asya means Vishayasya. Vijnanam means experience, cognition. The cognition of Vishaya itself is called as Homa. Yad Vishaya Vijnanam Tad Juhoti. That alone is called as Homa. Iti Shrutyantarat. This is what is said in other Upanishad. Kincha Sapta Ime Lokaha. Moreover, 7 worlds. What does Lokaha refer to? Not Bhuhu Bhuha Swaha. What are 7 worlds referring to? Golakas. They're referring to the apertures in the body. I hope all of you are comfortable with this format. What we saw in English, same thing we are saying in Sanskrit. So I hope that's easier. And don't worry if you are not able to follow the Sanskrit part. What Sanskrit part does is it just gives anchors for our thoughts. Next time when you want to read, it will be very easy. Sapta ime lokaha indriya sthanani. They are the apertures. Yeshu charanti sancharanti pranaha. In these apertures, sense organs manifest. Means if physical eye is not there, even if subtle ability to see is there, cognition will not take place. That's why it is said, sancharanti pranaha. Sense organs have to express through appropriate apertures. In that way. One thing to note here is, pranaha is called sense organ in secondary meaning. Gauna artha. Primary meaning, prana, generally when we see, it refers to the vayu. Prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana. But here secondarily it is called as indriyas. It is just like if you hear the word rock. What comes to your mind first? Stone. But rock is also type of music. Type of music. You have mudras also for it. Sapta. If you say rock, the primary meaning of the word rock is stone. Secondary meaning, context dependent meaning is type of music. So another English word if you want to write down for Gauna Artha, context dependent. If you hear the word cool, what comes to your mind? Temperature. Primary meaning is temperature. It's cool today. But cool is also personality type. This is a cool person. So cool person is Gauna Artha. Like that, prana, primary meaning is vayu, vayu bheda. And Gauna Artha is indriyas. So in this particular mantra, prana means indriyas. प्राणाः येषु चरन्ति प्राणानां विशेषणमिदं prana apanadi nivrityartham. This charanti word has come just to remove this notion that we are not talking about prana apana vyana udana samana. So in these golakas, these indriyas move about. Guhayam sharire hrudayeva swapakale sherate. During sleep, when the jiva goes to sleep, these sense organs also go to sleep. Two options are given where they sleep, either in the body, sharire, or hrudayeva. Hrudaya here refers to mind. So in the mind, commentators have written, mind also there is hita nadi. There is a particular nadi where all sense organs fold back. That is why it is called guha shayaha. This mind is like a cave, and all the sense organs go into the cave. Rishis, they take rest. Next day they come to do this havan again. Guha shayaha nihitaha. Nihitaha means sthapitaha. By whom? Sthapita means established, kept there. Who has kept it? Dhatra. Dhatra means Bhagavan, the one who gives. Which shabda is this? Dhatru shabda. Dhatru becomes Dhatra by that Dhata. Sapta Sapta. Sapta Sapta means in different beings. In different human beings, this arrangement has been made of Homa. Now, what kind of human beings? Those who know that this is how this Homa is happening, or even in those people who don't know anything. They are just seeing this world. This is in both of them. Yani cha atmayajinam vidusham. That is the first category. Atmayaji means one who is worshipping God through cognition. He knows that Akshara alone is expressing as all these 7 facets of Homa. I alone am all. Akshara alone is sense organ. Akshara alone is Vishaya. So I alone am expressing as sense organ. I alone am expressing as sense object. And I alone am the cognition. Homa is also me only. One who has this clarity, that person gets the title Atmayaji. The karmas and the karma phalas of such a person. That is one category. And avidushamcha, one who doesn't know that the primary illuminator is Akshara and all the 7 aspects have emerged from Akshara. One who doesn't know it, his name is avidusham. Those people are called avidusham. Karmani tat sadhanani. Their actions and the means of those actions in the form of sense organs, etc. Karma phalani cha, results of those actions. Sarvam cha etat parasmat eva purushat sarvajnat prasutamiti prakaranartah. The main message of this whole set of mantras is the karma, means of karma, and karma phala. All of them have emerged from Akshara. Whatever roles and duties that I'm doing, the action that I'm doing, and the results of action which are going to come, they have all emerged from that same Akshara. Now, because this is Upanishad and we are discussing at a different level, discussion will not be about what should be the type of actions, how to do action, how actions will bring, or which action will bring what kind of result. That is part of Karma Yoga. Prakaranartha means the main message that we should get. What is the main message? The emergence is from Akshara. And greater is person sadhana chatushtaya. Greater is God's grace on that person. Greater is Guru's grace on that person. To that extent, this Brahmakara Vritti will get strengthened. If you read many experiences of Mahatmas, what you will notice is it was this knowledge only which became crystal clear for them. That alone is expression of their samadhi, ecstasy, and mysticism also. Particularly if you read Swami Vivekananda's experience, the first time Ramakrishna Paramahamsa touches him, he says the whole world dissolved into some unknown truth. What remained was that truth. Nothing else remained other than it. And he felt afraid of it. But then he says, the same thing had to be gained through one's own spiritual journey. Guru only gave a glimpse. This is where you have to go. There is only Brahman. In Ramakrishna Paramahamsa's word, there is only God, nothing else. God alone is real, everything else is unreal. Now, this is a statement in scriptures. What is anubhava of it? It should become a living reality for me. And that will not come only by studying scriptures, doing some action. That will come by God and Guru's grace. That is the beauty of this journey. Self-effort is also praised, but final result is not self-effort. Final result is Krupa. Because the one who is putting forth effort should get erased. One who is putting forth effort is the ego, and the end journey is to sublimate, to negate, to dissolve this ego. So if somebody says, I strengthened Brahmakara Vritti, so what has remained there? The culprit has remained. That ahankara will not go by self-effort. There's a very sweet confluence between devotion and knowledge. The final step you will realize is not in my hand. Next verse is a very different idea, but it's same flow of thought. What all things have emerged, different things were pointed out. Let us see the next one. Now this has many details, and one detail is about food. Different types of rasas which are there in food. We'll enjoy this. Atas samudra girayascha sarve अस्मात् स्यन्दन्ते सिन्धवः सर्वरूपाः अतः समुद्रा गिरयश्च सर्वे अस्मात् स्यन्दन्ते सिन्धवः सर्वरूपाः अतश्च सर्वा ओषधयो रसश्च अतश्च सर्वा ओषधयो रसश्च येनैष भूतैस्तिष्ठते ह्यन्तरात्मा येनैष भूतैस्तिष्ठते ह्यन्तरात्मा अतः समुद्रा गिरयश्च सर्वे अस्मात् स्यन्दन्ते सिन्धवः सर्वरूपाः अतश्च सर्वा ओषधयो रसश्च येनैष भूतैस्तिष्ठते ह्यन्तरात्मा. Ataha refers to Akshara, Paramatma. From that Paramatma alone, Samudraha, all oceans have emerged. Why plural is used? They say there are 7 types of oceans. Srimad Bhagavatam elaboration is there of this. 7 types of oceans are there. The ocean that we are familiar with is salty ocean. The Sanskrit name for salty ocean is Kshara Udaka. Kshara Udaka. Or Lavana Udaka also they say, but Kshara Udaka. Kshara. Second ocean is Milky Ocean. This also we have heard, not seen. So Milky Ocean is called Kshira Udaka. Kshirabdi Shayana Narayana. Kshira Abdi, one who is residing in Milky Ocean. That is second type of ocean. Third ocean is ocean of curd, yogurt. That is called as Dadhi Udaka. Dadhi Udaka means ocean of curd. Fourth ocean is of ghee. Ghee ocean called as Ghruta Udaka. Ghruta Udaka. Fifth ocean is of sugarcane. Sugarcane juice. Sugarcane juice. So nice, just to go and get. You don't have to do any effort. This is called as Ikshurasa Udaka. Ikshurasa Udaka. How many are done? 5. Sixth one is of wine. Sura Udaka. Sura Udaka. Sura Udaka. Alcohol. Different lokas, they are not all in Manushya Loka. Appropriate loka, appropriate mindset. According to that, oceans will be there. And the last one is Shuddha Udaka, pure water, sweet water. Ksharodaka, Kshirodaka, Dadhyodaka, Ghrutodaka, Ikshurasodaka, Surodaka, Shuddhodaka. 7 oceans. Out of them, Kshara Udaka is Pratyaksha. We have seen it. And the remaining 6 are only through Shabda Pramana. There is no way to deny it. There is no way to experience it, provided Jiva goes there. In Manushya Loka, there is no way to experience it. But because we take Shabda also as Pramana, Shabda means whatever Vedas are saying, Puranas are saying. So for us, it is valid means of knowledge. We cannot establish it to Pratyaksha. Okay. Now, if you wonder, how come these 7 samudras are there? Swami Akhandananji, he explains in this way. He says, wherever there is Vyashti, there has to be Samashti. Wherever you see smaller expression, individual, there has to be total. So if you see salt water somewhere, there has to be some total reservoir of salt and salt water. Where does your salt come from? It comes from there only. So like that he says, if you see milk, if you see one rasa, there should be a rasa alaya. There should be an abode of that particular thing. Now it is just a way to explain. Don't try to get too deep into it. What is the main point here? Those rasas that Samudra has emerged from Akshara. Girayaha means mountains, Himalaya, etc. All those mountains have emerged from Akshara. Asmat Syandante. Sindavaha Asmat Syandante. Syandante means flows. The rivers flow from Akshara. See, the Puranic presentation of this is so beautiful. Where does Gangaji flow from? The toe of Bhagwan Vishnu. That is this phrase, Sindavaha Aksharat Syandante. All the rivers, they have emerged from the same Lord. So if we take a dip in the river, we are taking dip in the Lord. And because that Bhagwan is not different from me, I can take a dip anytime. That is the good news, you know. Asmat Syandante means that it is emerging from that source. Sarva Rupaha means different types of rivers, different types of mountains, all of them are emerging from that same Akshara. Atasya Sarva Oshadaya. All plants like rice and barley, etc., they are emerging from that Akshara. Next one is interesting. Rasaha Cha. Rasa means 6 types of flavors which constitute our food. And people have done research just on this one word, rasaha. What are the different types of rasas? How do they affect our body? During what season, which rasa should be predominant? How does it balance our vata pitta kapha? If vata pitta kapha is imbalanced, which rasa should be more? You name it. But we don't need any of that. Our main thing is rasa has emerged from Akshara. If you go into types of rasa and all this analysis, which vidya is it? Aparavidya. If we pay attention to where is rasa emerging from, which vidya is it? Paravidya. That is a difference. Aparavidya will talk about manyness. Paravidya will talk about that one truth. But at least the names we can write down. 6 rasa. First rasa is Madhu rasa. Madhu means sweet. Second rasa is Amla. Amla means sour. Madhu rasa is sweet. Amla is sour. So jaggery will be Madhu rasa. Lemon will be Amla rasa, sour. Lavana is salty. Third rasa is Lavana. Madhu, Amla, Lavana. Fourth one is Katu. Katu means hot. Katu means hot. Examples are ginger, hing, garlic. Ginger, hing, and garlic, the spice in them, that is Katu. Kashaya is the fifth one, also called as astringent taste. I had no clue, what astringent means. Then example helped, pomegranate. So pomegranate is Kashaya rasa. And Tikta means bitter. Tikta means bitter, which is neem example. Now there are several people who have interchanged Katu and Tikta. They say Katu is bitter and Tikta is pungent or spicy. But whatever you take, this is how the flow is. This I got from a research paper, which some university people had done. So I thought it is more authentic than so many things you read online. What is the meaning of each one? But the amount of detail which is there in just this one word, it's very nice to see how much people have studied it. Rasascha. Now, the next part of the mantra is very interesting. Yena eshah bhutaihi tishtatehi antaratma. Yena refers to rasa. Yena esha bhutaihi means nourished by this rasa. Yena esha refers to rasa. Nourished by this rasa. Bhutaihi tishtate means in the midst of Panchamahabhuta, who is seated? Antaratma. Antaratma is seated. Now, Antaratma here refers to subtle body. Antaratma refers to subtle body. Now you see the statement again. Yena eshah refers to rasa, nourished by these rasas. Bhutaihi, in the midst of these Panchamahabhutas. Tishthate is seated. Who is seated? Antaratma is seated. Subtle body is seated. That subtle body also has emerged from Akshara, but this rasa elaboration is given in that last part. Oshadaya rasascha is there, right? What is that rasa? Rasa is that nourished by which, in the midst of all the Panchamahabhuta, the subtle body is seated. Now, one thing to note here is rasa, these six rasa, they are not nourishing subtle body directly. Gross body, which is made up of 5 elements, is nourished by these rasas. That is why the word for gross body is Anna Rasamayaha. One who is nourished, that which is nourished by these Shad rasas. In the midst of this gross body, what is seated is subtle body, Antaratma. That rasa has emerged from Akshara. Okay, this is how Shankaracharya ji explains it. It's very simple, but it's not apparent. Yenesha bhutais tishtatehi antaratma. We might think antaratma is pure consciousness. And bhuta is some panchamahabhuta. He explains why subtle body is called Antaratma, because it is sitting in between Atma and body. Antaratma here refers to that which is in between. That which is in between Atma and body is subtle body. That body which is nourished by rasa, which is why it is called as Anna Rasamaya. That rasa has emerged from Akshara. Okay, let us see the Bhashya. Atah Purushat Samudraha Sarve Ksharadhyaha Girayascha Himavadadayah Asmat Eva Purushat Sarve Syandante Sravanti Gangadhyaha Sindhavah Nadyah Sarvarupaha Bahurupaha Asmat Eva Purushat Sarvaha Oshadhayah Vrihiyavadhyaha Rasascha Madhuradi. Adihi is there or Madhuradihi Shadvidah Yena Rasena Bhutaihi Panchabhihi Sthulaihi Pariveshtitah Tishthate Tishtati Hi Antaratma Lingam सूक्ष्मं शरीरं तत् हि अंतराले शरीरस्य आत्मनः च आत्मवत् वर्तते इति अंतरात्मा अतः पुरुषात्. From this same Purusha, Akshara, Samudraha Sarve, Ksharadhyaha, all oceans starting with Kshara, etc. Now you all know what are the seven oceans. Girayascha, the mountains, which are Himalayas, etc. Asmat eva Purushat Sarve Syandante, from this Purusha alone, they flow. What flows? Gangadhyaha Sindavaha Nadhyaha. The rivers like Gangaji, etc., they flow from this Akshara. Sarva Rupaha, which are of different kinds. Now, these rivers and mountains, they have their own beauty. They have their own importance as far as ecology is concerned, nature is concerned. And after studying Vedanta, we should be able to appreciate both outer beauty and absolute beauty. One should not feel knowing the absolute takes away the immediate beauty, natural beauty. But one need not stay only at that level. Sometimes poetry also, if you read, beautiful description, if it is there, metaphors are used, there is great joy of nature. But if it connects with Bhagavan, then that poetry itself becomes divine. That is the difference. Paratattva sparsha. The touch of divinity makes that thing divine. Asmad eva purushat sarvaha oshadeha. From this purusha alone, all plants have emerged. Vrihi means rice, Yavadi means barley. Rice and barley, they have also emerged from that Akshara. Rasascha, all rasas have emerged from Akshara. What are they? Madhuradihi. Madhu, Amla, Lavana, Katu, Kashaya, Tikta. All these rasas have emerged from that same Chaitanya. So today when you eat, first identify which rasa you are eating. And bring this bhavana that these rasas have come from the Lord. They are nourishing me. But in essence, it is Akshara. Annam Brahma, when we say, this is the bhavana there. Now, pay attention to the Bhashya. Yena. What does the word Yena refer to? Rasena. By that rasa. Bhutaihi. By those bhutas. Bhutaihi, the five Panchamahabhutas, which are gross. Sthulaihi, Panchabihi, Pariveshtita. Pariveshtita means surrounded. Gopastri Pariveshtito Vijayate Gopala Chudamani. The one who is surrounded by gopis and gopas, one who shines in them is Gopala Chudamani. Bhagavan Krishna. So Pariveshtita means surrounded. So surrounded by this rasa and five elements, Panchamahabhuta, Tishtati, it resides. Who resides? Antaratma. And what is the meaning of Antaratma? Lingam Sukshmam Shariram. Natu Paramatma. Direct meaning of this word, Antaratma here is Sukshma Sharira. It is surrounded by gross body which is nourished by rasas. It is very difficult to understand, How come rasa is nourishing subtle body? Rasa nourishes Anna Rasamaya Stula Sharira. In the midst of Stula Sharira is this Sukshma Sharira. Tat hi antarale. Antarale means in between. Shankaracharya says, if you have a doubt why Antaratma is called a subtle body, I will explain. तथि अंतराले शरीरस्य आत्मनश्च. In between body and consciousness, atma, atmavad vartate iti antaratma. In between them is this subtle body, and because it is reflecting sentiency, it as though appears as atma. It as though does work as atma. So subtle body can know, whereas atma is of the nature of knowledge. So in between body and atma is antaratma, which is subtle body. Okay. So next mantra is a conclusion of this topic, but more we reflect upon it, the Brahmakara Vritti part will open up. Okay, that we will see in the next session. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Hari Om, everyone.